One of the biggest lies I've ever believed is that if I could just achieve a little bit more, earn a little bit more, accomplish a little bit more, then finally I'd feel like I was getting somewhere. For years, I chased goals, bigger goals, more goals, better systems, better accountability, more discipline. Each January, I would sit down and do what successful people are supposed to do. I'd write goals for my business, goals for my finances, goals for my health, goals for my family. And I had notebooks full of goals. I had whiteboards covered in goals, plans, targets, org charts, deadlines. And some years I achieved them, some years I didn't. What confused me though was when I hit the goal, I wasn't any happier, wasn't any more fulfilled. I wasn't any more certain that I was building a life I actually wanted. So now looking back, I don't think I had a goal problem at all. I had a clarity problem. I remember sitting in my gray Jeep Cherokee on a rainy January morning back in 2011, where my life had completely fallen apart. I was more than $842,000 in debt. We had lost our home. My bride, the kids and I, we were living in a client's house. And I spent years chasing success. And yet, there I was, staring through a rain-covered windshield, wondering how I had ended up so far from the life I thought I was building. At first I thought it was money, then I thought it was debt, and I thought it was the market. Then I believed, oh, maybe I was the problem, which, yes, that is true. And the longer I sat there, the more I realized I might have been thinking about the wrong question. Not the question of how in the hell did I get here? How did I get here? $842,000 in debt? The better question was, what do I actually want? And that realization scared the shit out of me because here I was, ambitious, driven, willing to outwork people. And I couldn't clearly answer one simple question. What do I actually want? I was 37 years old at the time, and I wasn't clear on that answer. What do I want my life to look like? What kind of husband do I want to be? What kind of father do I want to be? What kind of experiences do I want to have? What kind of memories do I want to create? What kind of man do I want to become? Yes, I had goals, but goals aren't the same as direction. Goals aren't the same thing as purpose. Goals are not the same thing as knowing who you're becoming. They're just not. You got to work on you from the inside. And I think that's why I struggled with traditional goal setting for so many years, because I focused on outcomes before I ever got clear on the life those outcomes were supposed to create. Instead, I just became obsessed with the destination without ever defining where I was trying to go. Exhausting. I spent years chasing achievements while giving very little thought to the person I was becoming in the process. So that rainy morning changed a lot. I stopped thinking about the next 90 days and started thinking about the next 10 years. I stopped asking what I wanted to accomplish and started asking who I wanted to become and what I actually wanted. Those questions led me to write the 10-year letter. And something happened that I never expected. The moment I got clear about the future that I wanted to create, the decisions in front of me started to make way more sense. Life didn't suddenly get easier. Let's be real. Obstacles were still there. The uncertainty was still there. The debt was still there. But for the first time, and I have no idea how long, I finally had direction that I could trust. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't waking up, reacting to life. I was waking up with a vision. I was waking up excited to live that vision. Every opportunity had a filter. Every distraction had a filter. Every decision had a filter. And I could measure the choices in front of me against the future that I actually wanted to create. And that future became less of a mystery and more of a guide. So today, it's 2026. 15 years have passed since that rainy morning in my Jeep Cherokee. Since that day, I've revisited that original letter each year. Every year I sat down and reflected on the life I was creating, the choices I was making, and whether I was becoming the person that I set out to become. Then, when 10 years had passed, I wrote a new 10-year letter and began the process again. That's how powerful it was. So looking back, I've watched pieces of those letters come to life in ways I never could have imagined. I've experienced victories that I only once thought were impossible. I've walked through setbacks that I never saw coming. I've built businesses. I've raised two incredible children. I've strengthened my marriage. I've stood on marathon starting lines, crossed finish lines, traveled the world, coached thousands of people, and even fought a battle with cancer that reminded me all over again just how precious life really is. Through all of it, one thing has become crystal clear. I have become convinced that goal setting wasn't the issue. The issue was that my goals were not connected to a clear vision for my life. And I've discovered that when someone gets clear on who they're becoming, that's when things start to change. Every time someone feels stuck or overwhelmed or frustrated or disconnected from the life that they're building, we eventually find ourselves in the same place. We aren't talking about goals anymore. We're talking about values, about vision, we're talking about identity, who you are. We're talking about the future they're trying to create and whether their daily choices are aligned with it. What I've discovered is that when someone becomes clear about who they're becoming and really clear about their values and who they are, the goals begin to take care of themselves. The habits become clear. The opportunities become more clear. The trade-offs become clear. Even the hard decisions become clear. Future starts acting like a filter for the choices being made today. 15 years ago, I thought I needed better goals. What I actually needed was a vision worth building my life around. Yes. So if there is one thing I'd leave you with, it's this. Before you ask what you want to accomplish this year, ask what you actually want and who you want to become over the next decade. Ask yourself what kind of life you're trying to create. Ask yourself what would make you proud when you look back 10 years from now. Because once you get clear on that, everything starts to align. And that's when your future stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you author.